Are you ready to break through the mental barriers holding you back? Welcome to the Mind Mastered Secrets of Excellence with Don Grant. Since 2001, Don has been guiding elite athletes like PGA Tour champions, Olympians, and world champions, and everyday individuals toward peak performance. With a proven track record, including helping Vijay Singh win the 2008 FedEx Cup, and her PGA Tour clients averaging a 219% increase in earnings. Dawn knows what it takes to succeed. She's the inventor of the Mind Mastered app, author of 7 Strokes in 7 Days, a sought-after speaker worldwide, and the proud owner of Amelia Shotgun Sports in Northeast Florida. Join us as we dive into powerful strategies, inspiring interviews, and Dawn's unique insights to help you excel in every area of your life, sports, career, relationships, and beyond. And now, here's your host, Don Grant.
All right, I got Ernest Gonzales here, who a lot of people around town know his face, his music, his talents, his everything, his charm, his wit, and I'm excited to have you here, Ernest. I've known you a long time. I've watched you grow up from a wee lad.
A wee lad. I also appreciate the kind words. A lot of people would not describe me in those ways, but I do appreciate it.
I've got people like that too.
A wee lad. I think I've known you for 17 years now. You and I have been friends.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So who is Ernest? Way back.
Ernest.
Where did
way
you grow
back.
up? Yep.
So I grew up in Denver, Colorado. Born in the 80s in Colorado. It was not what Colorado is now. It was like a small town, big city, small town, if that makes any sense, where you had the sense of there's so much pride in the city and stuff. And so I loved growing up in Colorado. I still call that home. This will be my home for the rest of my life, but that's such a big chunk of who I am that I still consider that home. So I grew up in Denver, Colorado. Diehard Broncos fan. I always got to throw that in there because I love my Denver Broncos. But I miss the mountains a lot. There's always something to do. But growing up in Colorado, there was always something to do, whether it be music, sports, going to sports. So music's always been in my life. That's actually made a huge comeback in my life now. My dad was a drummer all his life, so as soon as I was old enough to hold a pair of sticks, he was like, "You're going to be a drummer." Then,
okay, Dad.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then in about 6th grade, you started to learn at the public school an instrument, and I'll never forget the day going, "Dad, I don't want to play drums," and I thought he was going to be so mad at me, and he kind of gave me a look. He goes, "Well, you want to play music, right?" And I go, "Oh yeah," and he goes, "Well, what do you want to play?" And I said, "I'd like to play saxophone." And it was a little disappointment, but when I gave him the reason why, he goes, "Well, why?" And I go, I don't want to have to lug all that crap around all the time because, as a kid who just wanted to be around music the whole time, it was, I was always with my dad. My dad was a bar drummer. He was always playing in the 80s and the 90s and some really good bands in Colorado. And we were always loading in at nightclubs and bars with my dad during off times. I know I went in the club with my dad at 2:00 in the morning, but we'd go from bar, one weekend we'd load his stuff in. He'd play the weekend. We'd load it out on Sundays, obviously right before the Bronco game. Then again and again on Friday night, we'd load in at another club. So hated lugging all that around. So I was just like, "Dad, I don't want to have to lug that stuff around." So I picked up the saxophone. At that same time, my love of golf came on. It was like right before the Tiger Woods thing started. My love of golf hit because I'll never forget my dad took me out, and we were never around things like that as a kid. I grew up in the inner city of Denver, and he goes, "You want to come out with me and the boys?" And it was a fundraiser for, I think it was my Pee Wee football team. Something like that. I go, "Sure." And I went out and I thought it was the coolest thing. There was so much grass and, collared shirts and prestigiousness. And it was probably I look back at the golf course. It was not the greatest golf course in the world, but I felt like so special. It was kind of like what rich people do. So, my dad was he was always my football coach, my baseball coach, my basketball coach, and he didn't know a lot about golf. So I kind of took that as like, this is another thing I could do where it's just me. But he doesn't know a lot about it. He was pretty tough on me with those sports. So I just kind of played golf and because it wasn't one thing that he knew. So got a job at a golf course, working for the city. I think back then that you could work at 11 or 12 which
Wow.
the city allowed because they didn't want the inner city youth out in the streets. They wanted them working.
Okay.
And it was a really cool program. So my first job I want to say it was 12 years old. And I learned to drive a golf cart. And I've been in the golf industry almost my whole life since then. Now I'm just turned 40. It's tough
Oh,
to say. It's tough to say. But I turned 40. And so I've been in the golf industry for the whole time. I went to performing arts high school. I was a music major at the Denver School of Performing Arts. And I was good enough to play all 4 years on the varsity team at another high school because we didn't have a sports program at my music school. So I had to go to another school to play golf. So I was able to start all 4 years on varsity. I was self-taught. I didn't have many lessons. If I did, it was like a group lesson with a clinic or something. The same thing with music. I was able to play it in some really good bands thanks to shout out to my music director, David Hammond, who took me under his wing, brought me from a school that I was supposed to go to. I think my lucky stars, I didn't have to go to it. It was a pretty rough school at the time. It's definitely changed since then, but it was a tough school. You had to be tough to go there. And Dave took me under his wing. I just started practicing and playing. So I had the love of golf and the love of music. And music took me to another level of knowing people, and I started to know more and more people, and then I was able to get a full ride scholarship at UNLV, the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. Run the Rebels, go Rebs. Unfortunately, I didn't finish. I was kind of wore out by music, and I hated it. It was kind of going back to my dad. It was like something that he always wanted me to do, but I always wanted to play golf, and so I thought, I could go play on tour. And I think this is the conversation when I first met you. It's like, this is what I wanted to do. I want to play golf. I want to play golf. I want to play golf. So I left UNLV and got in the PGA program back home in Colorado. And I was an assistant golf professional at the age of 21 at Fossil Trace Golf Club. And a guy named Jim Hayek took me under his wing there. And I started learning the apprenticeship and started learning through the PGA. And, there's a difference between PGA school and club pro, and then there's the PGA Tour. A lot of people get those mixed up. Being on the tour is another level, which we'll probably get into here in a second. But I learned a lot about waking up at 5 a.m. to get to the golf course at 5:30 to do a shotgun start golf tournament at 7 a.m. And you're in charge of 8,000 tournament rounds in a 3-month span.
Wow.
At the age of 21, 22, you better saddle up or you get fired. And the club was such a good club, and it was so good. And Jim was like the Michael Jordan of golf professionals. He was so great to learn under. I still use a lot of his stuff today that I do in my daily life. So then after that, I moved to Amelia Island. I wanted to grow up. I'll never forget. I packed a 2-door Chevy Cobalt full of clothes, golf clubs, and a saxophone.
What brought you here?
I had some friends that were he was the head pro at the Omni, and she was a teaching pro with Ed Bow at Long Point. And he goes, hey, there's a spot open at the Ritz-Carlton. I was like, oh, I'm going to work at the Ritz. Well, it was the golf club Amelia Island. But still, John Price took a shot on me and it ended up working out. John Price was the longtime GM here at the club. Took a shot on me and it worked out. And I never looked back. And that's where I met Laura Diaz, a good friend of mine. And that's when I was like, man, maybe I could try to play. And that's kind of where you and I met, was like through her. And then also Mark Daly was another guy that we knew. And I'll never forget talking to you again. I think I could play on tour. And we started working together. And it's funny how every time I could hear our session, or I could hear the little audio thing that you sent me, because I don't think I even had an MP3 player at the time, but
Yeah, it was probably cassette or old.
it was probably a cassette tape or a CD. And it's funny because I only had a CD player in my car, and I think you had the Ocean started, and you go, hi, this is Don Grant, hypnotherapist to the stars. And I'm just kidding. But you're like, you should not drive or operate heavy machinery. And I'm thinking, that's the only CD player I have right now. Is this one in my car. So I think I had to go buy a disc player
Right.
at the time and listen to it in my room, but it worked. It helped out. And so now, so I've been here for 18 years. I now sell houses for Summer House Realty, and I sell beer for Macama. I'm the taproom manager here. So clearly the PGA dream didn't work out. I'm playing on tour, but I'm getting ready to go back into teaching golf here on the island, and I'm in a band. So music has made its way back to me, and I'm in a really good band. We're successful. We're not on like any tours or anything, but we've traveled the country playing music together, and I get to create. And I think that's what God put me here to do, is to create, to make people feel good. And now 40 years old, here I am. Yeah,
Great
it's a
stuff.
lot. So.
And it's a wrap. No, that's great. So let's go back a little bit with working at the Ritz,
Yeah.
playing golf, wanting to get on tour. So tell me about that time in your life and what was going on and what some of the challenges were that you faced.
The challenges that I faced were, I don't know how I'm going to get there, but I'm going to make it happen. I had some help with you, and I had some help with Ron Philo Sr. and Laura Diaz. They helped me practice and the mental side. And then Laura and Kevin Diaz would help me get to the golf and physical working out stuff. I got much skinnier then. I miss it, but it was always work. It was the hard part was just figuring out how am I going to make it. And then of course when I would go play in tournaments, that was when that negative always crept in. It was like, am I good enough? Am I good enough? You have one bad hole and it was like the end of the world sometimes. Now you're throwing clubs and you're about to get never invited back on the tour because you keep throwing a tantrum. So, that's when Laura was like, I'm never going to play with you if you keep acting like this. So she was right. I mean, why would she's like, you're not good enough to be mad.
Oh.
I'm like, to hell with you. What do you mean? Like, you're not good enough. Like, what have you done in golf to be good, to be mad at? And you're like, I guess you're right. And then working with you on the one thing that changed my life was The Secret. When you handed me The Secret, you're like, go watch this and read this book. I think that might be the last book I've read, to be honest with you. But it was a life changer. It was just the power of positive thinking. It was like a light bulb went on in my head. And then I did start playing better. I didn't make it, but I started playing better. That was the challenge, was then like finding ways to stay out there. And I found ways financially to stay out there, but then that ran out. And then it was like, all right, I'd have to go be a big boy and get a job, which I did come back. Thank God I was able to teach golf and run a facility in the area. But that was the hard part, was just staying positive, finding, I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to make it happen. And I did as long as I could. But then when that well started drying up financially, you just can't go back and say, I know I came in last place, but I'm not going to come in last place this time. Like, I know I missed a cut. No, but I'm not going to miss a cut again. Can I have some more money? That was tough to do.
For sure.
But then after that was when I had a really, really hard time after coming back after that.
Yeah.
So tough time. I think I even saw you a couple of times after that, because I was in a weird spot. It was always the fear of failure was a scary part. And then I got past that. And then telling myself, all right, you failed. You never made it to the tour. You got close, but you never made it. That was probably the darkest time of my life, because you felt like a failure. I mean, you worked your ass off for 10 plus years. Well, since you were old enough to hold a club, to get there, never did. So snapping back out of it, of it's going to be okay, and then working hard and fighting the negative, going back to the things that we worked on, of vision it, see it, and don't look at anything else. That helped a lot.
Right.
So,
yeah.
Tapes of Don Grant kind of would always creep back in.
I'm in a lot of people's minds. That was obviously a very challenging time in your life. And so you start to reinvent yourself, right? What was the next phase for you, since you had made that decision to not follow the tour dream any further?
Yeah. I had a relationship and then that didn't work out. That was a toxic one. You add that to the fail of not making it on tour. It was a snowball. And so I had to look at myself and realize, what are the changes that I need to make to live healthy, have a mentally healthy life. And I had to make the change to leave that person. I had to make the change to fight for what I wanted. When you don't feel like waking up, you feel like being lazy. You feel like, going out with your buddies and having a good night. Well, you're going to feel like crap the next morning, and you're not going to work hard. So it's like, all right, I have to stop, and I have to figure out what I want next. And it seemed like when I started doing that, I felt like I got closer with myself as a person. Like, what did I really want? And it's where I feel like you're never always there. You're never fully there, but I feel like I'm getting closer every day.
Such a big learning curve. It's kind of odd when you think about it. Like, I have to learn how to know who I am. You've been yourself your whole life. It's such an odd thing, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's it's the person, like you talk about your challenges, and it's funny. I never think of these thoughts out loud. Sometimes I always think of them. You always think about it real quick when you're in your car. You're like, oh, I guess that's my weakness, and that thing's kind of like a double edged sword. But sometimes I think one of my worst attributes about me is I say yes too much. I say yes all the time. It's like, hey, can you help? Yes. Hey, can you do? Yes. I mean, look at what I'm doing now. I'm working for Summer House Realty. I work for Lakewood Capital, Santa Land out in Texas. I work for Mocama, running the tap room. I'm in a band that we're kicking and practicing almost every week. And then now I'm going to go teach golf, and I'm running a little thin, but I love it. It keeps me, it's that sense of accomplishment maybe that I didn't get when I was on trying to play golf for a living or wasn't on tour. That sense of, hey, you're doing something good. I think that's probably why I do it. But my girlfriend Ashley now, she's like, you got to start saying no to people because you're getting wore out. You're getting you're saying yes to so many people that you feel you're afraid to upset them, but you're upsetting yourself because you don't have time for yourself. So you get down. So it's been tough. I've been saying no a lot more. I've been saying no a lot more. And then to where even every day have an hour to myself. I go to Muay Thai every morning and I train every morning, and that's been very good. And that's a whole other, there's athletes and there's like martial art athlete, and those guys are so good. But it's an hour of that, or if it's not that, then it's an hour of playing music. So it's like creative. It's been good to take an hour every day to myself.
That's impressive.
Nice.
Yeah, that's impressive. And you're a very caring, giving kind of person. And a lot of people like that end up in the same situation of not being able to say no and then feeling bad if they say no, and like this whole thing. And it's definitely part of the challenge of having that kind of personality.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
What happens is you want to take care of everybody else, and then you're sacrificing your own self-care, and you have to like deliberately reel it back in and purposefully do things to take care of yourself.
Correct. And sometimes, you're helping people, running the tap room. I get some people that come in that work for me, they're down, and then next thing you know, you're down for them, and you're like, what the? Oh, stop that. Stop putting that in my life. I'm going to help you get out of this, but I need you to stay positive around me.
Yeah. Another really important thing, especially working in a bar type location, because there are going to be people that are down that are coming in there to try to feel better, and they can use substances to try to feel better. And then next thing you know, you're hearing their story. And I feel like one of my observations with both myself and people that I've helped, it's like, as you start to feel better and take better care of yourself, including these self-care things, you feel better, right? And then you can actually feel, like physically feel the energy of somebody that's in a lower place. And it can drain you or pull you down or dampen your mood. And I've said about myself, I've worked hard to find serenity, and now I defend it at all costs. It's like a fortress. I have to protect this thing. It was not easy to get it. And, I've made difficult decisions with cutting people out of my life, even if they're blood related, because they're toxic in some way. And that's some of the hardest decisions. It is absolutely the hardest decisions I've ever had to make.
Hard. It's very hard. I might not cut them out, but I've distanced myself.
Yeah.
So there's some people that I needed to get away from in the last year that are blood or pretty darn. I feel like they called him my brother and sister at a time, and it's like I gotta go. I'm not at your beck and call anymore. I need to be at my beck and call. And I need to do what's best for me and my family.
And I think there are different stages. Like cutting out might be extreme and maybe too specific, but I definitely tried other things first, like limiting the amount of time, and then if that didn't succeed over a period of time, then it was like, okay, now it's even less time. Now it's only holidays. I'm going to see this person, and I'm going to leave the room if they start being hateful or mean or rude or whatever, and not take it personally because that's them and not me, and, just different things like that. But it's tough, but I feel like it's a part of self-care. And who are you? Like, how do I want to live my life? What's the quality of this and the standards that I want to have for myself?
Correct. And it is all about who you surround yourself with. It's the old saying, don't be the smartest person in the room. And I don't want to be the smartest person in the room. I want to surround myself around. I don't want to be the smartest person in the room. I don't want to be the most religious person in the room or spiritual person in the room. I don't want to be the richest person in the room. I want to be the guy that's learning from everybody else while I just observe. And, don't judge me. I'm not judging you, but I want to surround myself around people that are going to make me better. One of those facets of my life, because they're all important to me. I don't want to be the best at anything in the room. I want to be the guy that everybody loves. Hopefully the guy that everybody likes to hang out with, because I want to learn from those people.
Yeah. It's a great way to look at it and to be deliberate about. So yeah, back then when I first met you, you were all about golf. You helped myself and my son and my daughter learn how to play golf. You'll be happy to hear my son is back at it. It's fairly recent. It's like maybe the last 6 months, but he's obsessed. Like he loves it. Oh, like where did this come from? But he's like, can't wait to leave work to get there. He's like, I gotta go,
Nice. That's awesome. Good.
Yeah, it's funny. So some difficult personal stuff that you went through, but at that time, I didn't even know that you were a musician. So how does this, which I think is cool, these two loves that started so early in your life, and then how did the music start coming back in again?
So it kind of all started to do with golf again. It was weird how those two just kind of keep intertwining. So I quit music. I mean, I just quit. I moved back from UNLV to Colorado, and I just stopped playing. I was just over it. I always had the saxophone kind of there. Like I said, I packed it in my two-door Chevy Cobalt, drove all the way across the country here. And I still didn't pick it up unless somebody was like, you play saxophone? I was like, yeah, like prove it. And so I'd probably, after a couple margaritas at the house, I'd pull it out. But I'll never forget that I had a caddy named Joe Bioni. He would come caddy for me when I had to go try to qualify for the Hooters Tour, or the Florida Open, or the Georgia, whatever. And his wife was the food and beverage director, I want to say, at the Ocean Club down at the Plantation. And he goes, hey, you want to play saxophone? I said, I don't know, man. I don't like that stuff. It's like saxophone karaoke. I just play in front of a backtrack. I hate it. And he goes, pay you $250 for 3 hours. I said, yep, I can play that again. I'll do it again. So one gig turned into 2 gigs a month. And then it turned into, I was playing every Friday. Then one time I think I was playing at, God, where was I playing? I want to say Lucas on Sunday. And one of the guys from one of the bands in town was like, hey, you want to sit in with my band, A Colored Sound? They're no longer a band anymore, but he goes, well, we're playing up in St. Mary's next week, and we would love for you to sit in with us. I said, sure. It was July 3rd, 2020, and I went and sat in with those guys, and the drummer and I just became really good friends that night. It was super weird. We got done with the show, and I just kind of hacked it around. I wasn't as good as I like to think I am now. So Michael was unloading his stuff, and he was the drummer. And of course, me being the guy, my dad, I would always help my dad unload. The rest of the band, they took off, they were gone. And the drummer and I are just hanging back, and I'm helping him load up his truck, because that's just reminded me of my dad. And he goes, hey man, you want to be in a band? Like, it's a different project. It's all originals. And we write all our own songs. I was like, sure. When do you practice? We're practicing Tuesday. And I'll forget, it was July 6th, because that's also my sister's birthday and also Tommy's birthday, who was our bass player. And I'll never forget the first song we played. It was not like anything I've ever played before. It was very heavy jam band. We actually play it still to this day. It's called Soup. It was very, very heavy. And I kind of was like, what the hell did I say yes to? Why am I in this band? These guys are way too hard for me. I am a jazz guy, R&B guy. And I hung in there, and I was able to write songs with these guys. And it was like a brotherhood between three other guys that I've never had. And it's been truly amazing. It's been one of the best things that's happened to me in my life, as being in this band. Gilbert 77 is what we're called. The reception that we've had from town is really cool. The reception that we've been up in Montana, we played in Athens, played in Pensacola, Vero Beach, we played all over, and it's just we're getting bigger and bigger. But it's tough to be too big when you're that magical 40 with a family with some stepkids and stuff. It's kind of tough to say, all right, I'm going to go tour. No, it's okay. It's okay if it doesn't happen, but it's been really cool. I do implement some of the things that I got from golf that you and I worked on to there, which is I might not be able to practice as much as I'd like to, because I am so freaking busy. but it is the headspace that you have to get into. But if you go in and thinking it's going to be a bad gig, 9 out of 10 times it's a bad gig. If you go in there thinking, watch this, I'm going to go freaking kill it, it's usually when I have my best shows. If I'm having a bad night before I get to a gig, it's like, all right, I need to go for a walk, or I need to go for a quick jog around the block, and just to kind of get some frustration out. And I do. And then it's like a magical button, and it's been great. But the music I think the ability to write has been the coolest thing. You know, it might not be me writing the whole song, but it is me writing a part of each song, which is really cool. And the reception that we've had, it's from the people that hear us, listen to us. It's been really cool. Very, very cool.
That's awesome. Now, to my little naive mind, you said your first impression was it was too heavy. Do you mean like heavy rock? Or
yeah, like
deep...
heavy rock.
Oh, okay.
It was heavy. It was like almost like it wasn't death metal. It was like almost metal, heavy stuff. And I'm going, what the hell am I getting myself into? You know, I don't know. My mom would appreciate me being in a band like this. So, but then we started playing some softer stuff. But it was funny because it was an intense song. It was one of the ones that we kind of softened up. I think I might have I've been like, all right, we got to soften this up a little bit. Well, anytime you add a saxophone to anything, it's probably going to soften it up.
Yeah. Interesting. I don't get out much, so now I'm like wanting to come listen to you guys. I'm like, what?
We're on Spotify. We're on all the streaming platforms. So, we're on Spotify. So yeah, we're getting bigger. It's been good. We know our limits. You know, I don't want to be gone every weekend. Well, now there is a price. If there's a price, if you want to pay me to be gone every weekend, I would do it. But I think for the life I want to live, to be healthy, mentally healthy, it can't be every weekend. It can't be every other weekend. It's got to be here and there. I still have to have a
and that works for them.
Yeah, I think we all are on board with that. You know, I think we're all, you know, because it'd be different. I think if all of us were in our 20s, not married with no kids, but half the band has, you know, 2 guys have real kids. I have 2 stepkids. The other 2 guys, one guy's getting ready to start having kids, and the other guy's, you know, happily in a relationship. So it's like we're all over the place, and it's okay if me at least, it's okay if we don't make it to tour with Dave Matthews every weekend. But if Dave wants us to have us out once in a while, you know, around the world with him, then that's fine. Once in a great while, it's fine. But not every weekend for me.
Wow, you really have gotten to know yourself, haven't you?
I have. Yeah, it's different. You know, I also met, you know, I'm with Ashley, and that was a huge thing for me. She's changed my whole perspective on how I think. You know, she's there to ground me, because I'm an imagine. I like to dream. I like to dream sometimes too big. She's like, all right, come on back. You know, but there's sometimes where I dream and she's like, I think we could pull that off. I think you can do it. You should do it. And so it's never always a no with her. It's always like, all right, well, let's figure it out. And it's our saying is like, we'll figure it out. You know, when times are tough, we figure it out. When times are good and we want to go more, we figure it out to make it happen. And she's been probably the best thing that's happened in my life as well. It's weird, between 2020 and right now, it's been like just a true, you know, Ernest needs to figure it out. And I feel like I'm getting close.
Yeah.
You never always figure it out, but you feel like every day I wake up with a purpose. And there's that purpose of what I've done in my life the last 4 years have really been towards that purpose. And, you know, I think that's kind of what we used to talk about. What was the purpose of the day? What was the purpose? What's your purpose? And, you know, I wake up with a purpose every day. I had another musician. She was like, how do you keep doing what you're doing, working all these jobs and, you know, 2 stepkids and XYZ. And I said, I wake up every morning with a purpose. And I go to bed knowing that I did everything I could do to have a successful day, whether it's picking up the kids to go to baseball or having a great practice. I don't ever go to bed going, I wish I could have done that better. I haven't had that feeling in a long time, a sense of unaccomplishment.
So just rewinding a little bit, talking about your partner and the fact you've already admitted that you had a challenging relationship before, and I've been there as well. I've had very toxic relationship. And when you find somebody who is supportive and a cheerleader, well, I don't have a cheerleader man, maybe, but it's totally different when somebody gets you like you're a dreamer, appreciates it. It probably puts a smile on her face, and she loves that about you. And at the same time, she's like, that one's probably good. This one, let's chat about it,
Yeah.
but not dampening you, not putting you down over it, not, I don't know, saying something negative or saying, oh, you could never do that. I mean, there's just so many different ways that a person can handle each of us being so unique. And I would say that's one of the things I really appreciate about my fiance is that he like really gets me,
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. It's so cool when they do. You just kind of give them a look, like, or they give you the look. You're like, all right, we're right where we're supposed to be, or you're like, oh, I should probably shut up now. Like, kind of have that. They never put you down. They just kind of go like, we're
yeah,
going here. Okay, all right, or that's a great idea. Like, they just give you that look, and you're like, okay, but it goes full circle. She's got some big things she's doing too, and it's like I want to be there for her as much as she's there for me with all the things I've been doing with real estate and music, and now golf again. I push her too. She's starting a new business, and it's like, you can do it. Let's go. Let's figure it out. And that's what we've been doing for the last 6 months with her new business getting started, is figuring it out. I'm proud of her. God, I'm proud of her
awesome.
as much as I'd be proud of anybody. And she's got 2 kids, and she's blessed me with them being a part of my life. I smile every time I think about them. I don't have any of my own. Hopefully we'll have some soon, but it's going back to the not toxic but thoughts. It's Eva's getting ready to be 11, and it's like those feelings that we don't like in our head are creeping in more with her, and it's like we always kind of have to remind her that it's going to be okay. It's going to be all right. I know you had a bad day at school. I know girls are mean, and and so it's kind of, hey, get back into your path. That's been fun and challenging at times. Sometimes I remind myself she's still a kid. She's not 14 or 15. She's still a kid. So that's been she gets negative, and it's like I've been there. Hell, I was there yesterday at some point probably. So, but just reminding them that it's going to get better. If you take the steps, it always gets better.
I love that you've been able to learn and now are passing it on, to the next generation.
I try my best.
We're talking about, I'm a dreamer as well. Like, it's part of my brain. I don't know if it's part of being an entrepreneur, but it's like, I always have the next idea, and I wake up with the next one, and then I wake up with the next one. We have a spare room in the house, and next thing I know, I'm like doing, I don't know if you saw it, but some social media where I was like playing Santa and the Grinch, and then I was doing some for the haunted trails, and I was like a scary person, and then this crotchety old lady, and Joe would come in, and I'm like, I got a Santa mask on at one point, and then I was doing devil and angel, like, the way you have these 2 voices in your head.
Yeah.
And I was expecting him to be like, you're crazy, but he just smiled and kept going with whatever he's doing. I'm like, how are you okay with this? Like,
so cool. And they're like, yeah, that's just you. That's just you being you. I love all of you and all the stuff that you do. Yeah.
It's so funny. I come out, I'm like, are you really okay? Like, with what I'm doing? Like, you have nothing to say. It's like, you just do your thing, honey.
Yeah.
It's so funny, though. And, having had the opposite before, it is such a difference. And that's one of the things I do like to talk to people about, is having a good support system. And, if we could even just go back to golf, it's like, if you didn't have a good support system at home, like the golfers, they're struggling, right? You got an argument with your spouse.
I felt like if I wasn't in that relationship, I probably would have made it a little bit further. I really do. I felt like that was just, I had support, but I don't know if it was fake support or a front. I don't know if what it was, but I just didn't feel I had 100% of it. And it was like, I'd feel bad if I went and practiced. I felt bad if I went and played. I felt bad if I went to the gym. I felt bad if I did X, Y, Z. And it wasn't like, hey, I need this to go there. And, she was great a lot of the time, but there was a lot of the time where it was like very toxic, very.
And it's who we are also in that relationship, because as you know, the strength that it took to get out of it, we didn't have that strength on the front side, right? It took going through all that to gain that strength to even get out of it. But then you're a different person, and that different person probably would have went to the gym anyways, or didn't feel bad when they went to the gym, but not who you were earlier,
No,
right?
no,
And
no. I'm always afraid to admit, you're always afraid to piss somebody off. And at the end of the day, when you don't piss somebody off, then you end up pissing yourself off. You end up going, well, what the hell did I do today to better myself as a person? No, I was out there doing what everybody else wanted me to do instead of what I needed to do to make myself get to the next level. And that's where the depression started hitting me after that weird time in my life. It's like, why?
it's so
Why did I do this
tricky.
for this? Why did I do that for that? Why did I do that? I didn't do anything for myself.
There's I think especially in the 20s, there's certain people, and I'm gonna say my son's one of them. He found this wonderful young lady. They've been happily ever after. They genuinely have a great relationship. And then I see like my daughter, she's more like on the path I was on. And I just want I'm like, now that I've found something great, I've genuinely found something great, and it's stood the test of time. We're not just in the honeymoon stage, and it's not just pretend, right? So I know it's genuine. And so I'm just like, honey, there's hope. There really is better for you out there than what you're putting up with and what you're dealing with. But it's hard to tell somebody that when they are younger and they are living it and they don't really have that understanding yet, or the belief or the hope or whatever. I find it interesting because I've been there, and I don't know if it's a matter of just thinking perfect doesn't exist, whatever that is. And I don't know. I remember feeling like, well, nobody's perfect, and you got to take the good with the bad. I don't know. I just kept talking myself into staying.
I kept myself, there's nothing better out there for me. There's nothing better out there for me. There's nothing better out there for me. And I should have been like, you need to start treating yourself like you're the best thing ever, instead of that they're the best thing ever. And so I see this. I'll never forget the time I just said, to hell with it. I'm out of it. I'm out of here. I can't do it anymore. I couldn't. It was like the 2,000-pound elephant just off my chest. It's like, holy cow.
Well,
and
it's like hitting some kind of bottom, right? We have to do that.
And I'll never, I wish them the best. I respect them. If they need anything, I'll always do something, whatever they need. But I haven't looked back.
Yeah.
And even I'll never put myself in that position again. I'll never put myself in that position again. Unfortunately, it took me too many years to realize that, but I'll never.
Well, it took me 50 years. So, Ernest, you're doing better than me.
I don't know all that. Yeah.
But yeah, once you've experienced, let's just say compatible, we don't even have to like put anybody down or anything. It's just like, I'm more compatible with this person. And once you've experienced that, there is no going back.
Yeah. It's totally, that's the way to put it. Because there were some great moments. I loved it. But there was a lot of where we were not compatible. It was bad. And I do thank her a lot for some of the things I was able to experience and able to live with her. But
and I feel like they're like angels in disguise. Like if you look at the amount of growth, huge amount of growth that you've experienced because of that relationship. For me, I've been able to turn it around. My first husband, I'm like, he was an angel in disguise. I mean, I never knew it then, but I can see it now. I am so happy with the amount of growth that I've had and who I've become because of that relationship, because of him, literally, Oh
yeah, I wouldn't be where I am now with certain things in my life without that person. So there is a thank you to them to some extent. But you have to also tell yourself when it's time to go, it's time to go. We all have these friends that are in these relationships, and you're looking at them and you're like, I can't tell you when to leave. I can't. You just got to do it yourself. Just like going over our old sessions together, it was like, I could tell you how to get out of this, but you have to do it eventually yourself. And it was like, it's kind of the same thing with a person in a bad relationship. You got to do it yourself. And you can listen to all your friends. You can see that your partner is a piece of junk, but until you take the leap and leave, it's all on you.
And it's like some level of confidence, self-love, self-understanding, self-awareness, strength. There's like so many things, and it's almost like they have to increase in strength enough that you can do it. In my second marriage, that was the most toxic of every relationship in my entire life. And we were in therapy together from the honeymoon on. We probably should have well, we should have never got married, other than how much I've grown from that. But
Yeah.
I would say to the therapist in my private sessions with her, I see that this is going to end in divorce. Like, I have absolutely no doubt. There is like not a single doubt in my mind. Like, well, so
Yeah.
why am I still here? Like, why haven't I pulled the trigger? And she would say, you'll know when you know.
Yep.
And you just take it one day at a time. And even if you decide that that's not what's going to happen, that you're going to stay, you will know one way or the other. And on that day, you will do what you need to do. And it was 6 months later, and I never turned back. Like, it was like once whatever it was had to get to a certain level for me. And then I had the courage and the strength and the ability and the determination and like everything you need to
Yeah.
keep moving
Yeah.
forward and not turn back.
No. And look at you now. I mean, it's pretty cool to see where you are now. I remember when Don Grant was chasing tour players around, and you were like, I'm going to talk to Angel Cabrera. I don't know, or was it Miguel Angel Jimenez? And he ended up talking to you. You were determined to get there, but now look at you. I'm on your podcast, and you have the Shotgun Club, and you got the book, and you got all this cool stuff, and it's just like, because of that person, you might not have been where you are now.
For sure. Knew, like I said, that it was going to end in divorce, but there was other things that I'd put on hold also. He had a business that I had started running for him, which meant just because of who I was at the time, not because of him, I put my mental training business on the back burner. It was just oscillating in the background for a few years.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was looking forward to being able to find myself again and do the things that I loved. And as soon as those divorce papers were signed, I'm not even kidding, it was the next day. I came out like a horse out of the gate or whatever. I came out running and fighting and moving forward, and I haven't stopped since. Like, I've made those online courses. I've created the Mind Mastered app. I did.
Nice.
I mean, all this stuff was floating around in my brain, but I just didn't have the literal energy, mindset, ability at that time to do it because I was so exhausted with that relationship.
Yep. I know. People see me, they're like, you're different. You're a different guy. It's like, that's good. That's a good thing to be different than what you used to be when you were miserable.
Yeah. Well, all this is very helpful because we know we're not alone in this kind of stuff, Ernest, right? And that's one of the
we're not.
I think it's so important to talk about things like this because we're just not alone. There are plenty of people that are relating to what you and I are talking about right now.
No, and I wouldn't be in this band if I didn't make that step, which is, like I said, one of the best things that's ever happened to me is meeting at the time, 3 guys. Now it's 5 of us. So now it's 3 or 4 other guys I consider brothers. I wouldn't have taken that leap. I wouldn't have been in a band without them, and even certain things with real estate, with the Schaefers, I consider James as like a brother. He's awesome. And Jenny's awesome.
They really are. Yeah.
Learning from those 2 people has just changed my life. James is the type of guy that, he's a hell of a dad. He's a hell of a businessman. He's a great father. Actually, in reverse order, he's spiritual dad, businessman, hell of a guy. I guess all 3 of those things make you a hell of a guy. Surrounding myself around him has been a great thing and also a challenge to myself. Like I said, you never want to be the smartest guy, the most spiritual, the most rich. He's the guy that I like to surround myself around with because he's somebody I look up to. I didn't have a brother.
Yeah.
My dad wasn't around a lot growing up. I didn't have anybody to look up to like that. So having him in my life has been really cool. And I wouldn't have been able to do that if I was stuck still. And I definitely want to be in this band. So it's been great.
So many great things.
So many good things.
So I do want to pick your brain on what athletes know as the zone, but I really believe, well, all humans go into the zone, but musicians, especially on stage. So So what are your thoughts being the golfer musician dude who's been, doing both? What do you say about the zone state?
It's, the zone, the best rounds of golf I ever had was when I don't remember hitting a golf shot. Even now when I go play play a round with my friends, I try to still get in that zone. It's like, I want to get to where I know exactly what's going to happen next, where you don't have to think and you don't you go back through your round and I shot 68 today. Well, how'd you get there? I don't remember, but I remember where the ball landed. I remember starting the process again from where the ball landed. And I still try to get to that level when I play music. is when I play music, it's kind of the same thing. It's so weird. It's the preparation. I might not have time to prepare for practice as far as that, but it's the preparation before I go into a solo of there's that. It's weird. I can visually see the notes and they're like in a silo. It's weird. Especially when I solo, they're in a silo. And if I stay in the silo, no matter how I put the notes in order, it's going to sound great. Once in a while, I'll hit a purple note, that we call it a purple note, outside of that silo, but I can visually see how to get back into the silo and I stay in there again. So the zone is just kind of, it's weird. It's kind of with both. You have to prepare right there before you do it and then just let go.
Let go.
Let go. You come out and you're like, what the hell just happened? And usually it's an amazing solo. It's an amazing show. Usually it's an amazing golf shot, but you have to let go. You just let go and trust the process that got you there. That's trust the practice, at the millions of golf balls you hit, the scales that you've been playing on your saxophone for 30 years, then that's where you trust what happened, is if you just let go and just trust the process of all those hours you put into practice and go. And sometimes, just like in golf, you hit a bad shot and you did let go, but then how do you recover back? How do you get back into the silo of comfort of your notes? How do you get back to, you have to just start the process or trust, let go, keep letting go and get back into it. You screwed up a note, you know how to get back into it and then let go again. If you screw up again, then you know what I like to do? I like to just make it weird and hit the wrong note. And then people are like, that was cool. And even though in your mind, you're like, that was awful. But and you don't know that. In golf, it's the same thing. It's just like you hit a bad shot. And some people might think that's still, you're better than they are. You're playing with a 20 handicap. I missed the green. Well, they're like, that was a hell of a golf shot. And you're going in your mind, you're going, that shot was awful. But hit it close again. And then get up and down for par.
And no more temper tantrums.
No more temper tantrums. Nobody will even know. Nobody will know.
Right.
But it is, that's why when I smile and when you're like, how do you get in the zone? It's like, oh, this is the fun. Because everybody's answer is different, I feel like.
Yeah. Having asked a lot of people about the zone over the years, I do feel like there's about 8 common denominators. One is everything seems to disappear around you. It doesn't feel like you. Playing, swinging, time flies by. It feels euphoric. It feels so good. You wish it could just keep going. You're not thinking analytically. You're not like analyzing, and you're definitely not worrying and doubting or anything like that. And everything that you have practiced is just free flowing, like coming through, but it's more like, because that's coming from your subconscious and that's like the physical mechanics. But it's almost like that's in a marriage with divinity. Like it's this amazing energy. And when people say it doesn't even feel like it was me, it's almost like it's because the me they know is the one that analyzes. Well, I'm thinking about this. I'm worried about that. I'm wondering about this. And when you take that, what we think is me, out of the equation, you're left with like your true self and all this great stuff and this great energy. And so think about it like the opposite. So you can't make that happen. And I'm glad you said that, because you said you have to let go. So it's not, I'm going to make this happen. It's a little letting go of everything that would keep it from happening, like letting go of worry, letting go of doubt, letting go of second guessing. But going back to something we said earlier, it's that confidence. There's so much strength and confidence. And when you bring that to the table, it just clears out all that crap. And it lets you be in the moment and totally experience that moment. But not being in the zone, and think about this, like when you're playing the sax, if you had to think of every note and like, what am I playing next? You can't do it. You can't do it fast enough. The conscious mind just isn't capable of doing it.
And I will tell you, when we start a song, and because we have about 5 hours worth of original music, we never write the notes on the page. It's all off of memory. When I start a song going, crap, what note is this again? I usually screw up the first note. But when I just let the feeling come over and I go, all right, it starts at C sharp. All right, there we are. First note, boom. And now I remember the rest of the song. But if I sit there going, what freaking note are we starting in this end? Like, now you're like, oh, now I screwed that up. Now you're like, you feel like a jerk because everybody's like, at least nobody knows, but every musician knows that when you screw up, you think like the whole world is watching and they're pointing at you, but really nobody cares. Nobody cares.
I would definitely not know. Unless
So
something
it is,
squealed or something.
yeah. But it is the letting go. But even sometimes it squeals. Sometimes, you can only control so much in a saxophone. There's just constant air. But once in a while, you get a bubble or a pocket or something, and it will squeak. And you just have to just keep rolling. And some people are like, they hear it, they give you the look. But if you just get out of it somehow, make it sound cool, they don't care.
Yeah.
It's like, and it's kind of the same thing with golf. And I think Laura even said it. Nobody cares what you shot.
Yeah.
Nobody really cares what you shoot. It's just go play golf. It's a sport. Go at it. You've already prepared all you can do. Just go play a sport. Go have fun. That's all you can do.
And look at you, like coming back full circle and starting to play golf again and do instruction again. And now you're bringing this new brain, this one that has been through so much, has learned so much, who's taken care of himself, understanding how to be in the moment. Like you're bringing all that to the table and you're going to have a whole different golf game.
I think I'm going to be able to teach better, to be honest with you. I think I'm going to be able to teach better. I'm not an analytical guy. I'm not a numbers person. It's all about feeling. How did you feel when you hit the golf shot? Physically, your hands were here, your club angle was there. That's great. But how did you, were you in the zone? Or, how was the process before you hit a golf ball? Where are you now? I was afraid to screw up. Well, guess what's going to happen if you're afraid to screw up?
Yeah.
Screw up. And I think it was, it might have been a book you gave me, or I might have given you a book that was written by Stevie Williams, which is Tiger's old caddy. And he says that, if a baby doesn't know how to fail when they walk, because it just hasn't gotten in there yet. So when you have a new golfer, you don't know what failure is.
Yeah.
You have to, they're going to see bad shots and whatever it is, but they get up and just keep hitting. Just like a baby, just get up, hit again. Going back to the Lord, you're not good enough to be mad. You're not good enough to get upset. Just get up, keep going. So again, I don't know where I was going with that, but that was, I don't know.
No, that's good. That's good.
It was a good book. That's what I remember.
I think I still have it. So I do want to let all the listeners know that I do have some free goodies for listeners, whether it's my mental training and my Mind Mastered app, or even a free golf cart rental at Amelia Shotgun Sports. And you can get that at dongrant.com/free. And Ernest, you have really been inspirational, and I love talking to people who have been through, challenges, aren't afraid to talk about it and how they've overcome it, and then how great life is for them now and all this. I mean, you're really inspiring. So I know you're going to help a lot of people.
I feel honored to be on here with you. We've known each other for a long time, and I've seen all the great things you keep doing and more and more and more. And it's just, it's an honor to be on here with you. And I'll never forget our first time having a YouTube. That was back when YouTube first started. We had a little YouTube video together a long time
I still
ago.
have it. You're on my website somewhere, your little testimonial.
Anytime I could be on there with, I think it was some PGA Tour golfers that you've helped out along the years.
Yeah.
Anytime I'm on the same page with them because of you, I'll take it.
Yeah. Thanks. That's cool, though. So, all right, you've got multiple things. So where are you doing instruction for golf?
I'm doing instruction at the Golf Pub Social here on Amelia Island. The great ladies over there, but they got me coming in here the next couple of days. So I'll be teaching instruction over there. You just go on to Golf Pub Socials. Golf Pub Social. It's the new indoor facility that is next to the Bell's outlet on Sadler. And it's an indoor facility.
Oh,
it's
I'm out of the loop.
Air conditioned. You need to cut. Yeah, I know.
How long has that been open?
It's been open for about 3 months, 2 or 3 months.
My goodness. Wow. That sounds cool. So you're doing instruction there.
Doing instruction
You're
there.
You're doing real estate through.
Real estate with Summer House Realty. It's been great. That's really my real job. That's the one that I like to spend the most time on, but I don't spend enough time on it. But that's my real job. That's the one that helps pay all the bills.
The name of your band
is Gilberto 77. We're named after a boat that sank in 1977 on the beach of Fernandina.
Oh my goodness!
Whole story about it. It's carrying 25 tons of illegal product, and they on Thanksgiving Day they sank, and then they put it all in one big pile and burned it. So it's kind of a story.
I've heard that story.
Yeah, you've heard the story. Yeah, so we're named after the boat and the year it happened. And then so you can follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Give us a follow on Spotify, Apple iTunes, YouTube Music, Amazon Music. We're on all the platforms. We just put out one song a couple months ago. We're about to put another one out in the next couple weeks.
Nice. And then Mokama.
Mokama. You can find me at Mokama. I'm the taproom manager here, putting on events. So if you like to, I want to have a Don Grant night here and have you talk, be a guest speaker. But love to have you.
I've had that conversation with you guys before. We just need to do it. I'm ready. Nice. Okay, so, and people can follow all of those things on social media and probably your personal page.
Correct.
And the same on my end. If I got my pages and all that good stuff out there. What's the one piece of advice, tiny little piece of advice, the wisdom of your years, Ernest, you want to pass on?
Let go. Just let go. All the things you worked on, even if it's spiritual, all the prayers you did, all the knowledge that you did as a young person, just let go. It'll work itself out. And if you let go, I promise you, all the things will come. All the things that you wish for will come.
That's some great wisdom right there. Not easy to do, but you work at it every day. And
that's all you can do is work at it. You might not give all of 100%, but if you let go 80%, you get close.
It's a fact. Well, really great, Ernest. And I look forward to coming to see the band. I think of all the things you listed, that's the one I haven't done yet in this new golf place.
Yeah, that too. All right. Well, thank you.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for tuning in to the Mind Mastered Secrets of Excellence with Don Grant. Whether you're an elite athlete or pursuing success in your career or personal life, Don Grant's expertise and insights are here to guide you. Don't forget to visit dongrant.com/free to grab your exclusive free resources, hypnosis audios, mental training tools, and even a golf cart at her club. If you enjoyed today's episode, follow, rate, and share this podcast. Stay connected with Don on all social media platforms for more inspiration, tips, and updates. Remember, mastering your mind is the key to unlocking your full potential. Until next time, keep pushing your limits and striving for excellence.